Salute, salute, salute. What's going on, everybody? Make sure everybody can hear me nice and clear. Give the peoples a few minutes to get in. We're gonna talk about the Goot versus the Goat, greatest of our time versus the greatest of all time. See who we got, and let's talk about that, man. So we got LBJ versus MJ. Very, very, very curious to see who everybody got, man. I can't wait to see people's selection. I know that topic is real big. Got the Jordan lovers out there. You got the Brown witnesses out there. So very, very interesting, man. I can't wait to see how this topic takes off, and how we're able to get down and see what we can see for this one. Gonna wait for my peoples to get in here so we can see what we got. We're gonna see what we got. Man, I'm thinking if I was to do a vote on this, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna be MJ all day, man. We got more old heads in this younger generation that loving them Jordan shoes out there, and so they definitely gonna be seeing the fact of that, man. So it's gonna be tough for Braun to overtake MJ for that GOAT title. But we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see what the peopleization, as my man Blue would say, the peopleization, see what they got to say about it. Let's see if we can get everybody in, get everybody talking about this, and see what happens, man. I'm excited to talk about this topic with you guys. So give my peoples a few minutes, and then we'll get into it, talk about it, see what shakes from it, see what shakes from it. Very, very curious to see what the people's gonna say, man. Very curious to see who we got. We got MJ as the GOAT, or LeBron as the GOAT, or do we got LeBron as the GOOT, greatest of our time, versus MJ the GOAT? I think if I'm speaking hypothetical or being nice about it, I think MJ's game is transferable. He can play in any era. I feel MJ can play in any era, especially today era. That man would he would eat until he's full and then some. LeBron, I think that's a lot of people's question about him. Is his game something that can actually transition, from different eras, or do you think, as they like to say, that he might be a tad bit too soft or something like that? Is would his game not be as transferable as the others? So again, waiting to see, man. Waiting to see people join in. That way we can get people's insight, and we can dive into this whole breakdown of who has who's the GOAT and who's the GOAT. And salute to everybody hopping in. Appreciate y'all joining in. Yeah, like I said, I'm very excited to talk about this topic, man. I'm very excited to see how it goes. I was obviously gonna have to keep it respectful, but at the end of the day, again, you got diehard MJ fans, you got diehard Braun fans. So we're gonna have to wait and see. We have to wait and see, and see what everybody says, and see what everybody comes up with their own opinion of it. If you're just getting in, make sure you hit the like button. Let me know you're in the house. Also, definitely subscribe to the channel if you're new. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Who do you have as your GOOT, and who do you have as your GOAT? Again, GOOT stands for greatest of our time versus the greatest of all time. Do you got LeBron or do you got MJ? I know he switched his number from 23 to 6, but we all know he enjoyed wearing the number 23 in reference in respects to LeBron. So we definitely want to see what everybody has to say about that. Or LeBron was saying in reference to MJ. My bad, misspoke there. Hey, salute Tupac 13. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you stopping through, man. Tupac, let me know who you got. You got Bron or you got MJ as your GOAT. As I was just saying, man, I was like, we got greatest of our time versus greatest of all time. Who wins that title ultimately? And we're not gonna leave out Kobe, and Kobe too, man. We're gonna touch on Kobe a little bit. Make sure we pay our respects to that man as well. We're not gonna act like he didn't reign supreme in his time when he was in his heyday and in his prime. So Kobe was the MJ 2.0 to some degree. He was out there, man. He was doing what he needed to do. He got those 5 chips, and he showed why he is again one of the top 10, if not top two, three players in the world or in the history of the NBA. Kobe brought a lot to the table. Again, that was Michael Jordan 2.0 to some degree. Well, actually, not to some degree, to all the degree. I mean, there's people that put highlight reels out there showing identical basketball moves that Kobe was making, the same as Jordan. So, um, it's tough, man. It's tough to kind of go right past Kobe and skip LeBron past Kobe and go straight to Jordan. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are just comparing it to that overall, when he speaks and the power he wields, the aspect in that standpoint is what I think a lot of people are skipping over Kobe and going right to Jordan for that comparison. But as far as like for their games, I don't really see their games being that similar from that standpoint of just saying, hey, you got LeBron, you can compare his game to MJ. MJ, we all know, man, that man was a fanatic on that offensive end. And then obviously he was a defensive monster as well. So again, you got to pay those respects, man. Got to pay those respects. If you just can tune it in, make sure you hit that like button. Again, let me know who you think is your Goot, greatest of our time, versus Goat, greatest of all time. Let me know what you think and who you're rocking with. Which one are you going with is your main one? We got LBJ versus MJ. And like I was just saying, touching on, we definitely not gonna disrespect Kobe and leave him out of that conversation as well, man. Because Kobe was right there doing everything he needed to do. He won three with Shaq and won two without him. So he wanted to show and prove, that he is his own man and he definitely can do it without having another, all-time elite superstar at his side. I think the two rings and he won those was obviously with Paul Gasol and Bynum. Obviously, we're not going to sleep on Paul Gasol and the skill set he brought to the team, but we're also gonna not act as if Paul Gasol is Shaq at the same time. So we're gonna get him in his respect, man. Paul Gasol was a perfect fit for a Kobe-led team that he needed. Um, so we're gonna give him his respects. My man Tupac 13 said, "For me, it's MJ, 100%." So MJ, or Tupac, let's dive a little deeper. Why is MJ your GOAT overall? Jay Harris. Too bad I didn't know MJ in my time. Yeah, it's a lot of people that's younger than you that don't know MJ, but YouTube gives them a definite insight into what that man brought to the table and how he was in the time of in his heyday. So if you haven't done it already, I would say definitely hop on there, take a look at my video I posted yesterday or last night, just giving some insight, showing a little highlight reel of what Jordan was doing. Again, that was just a snippet compared to his actual game itself. Yeah, I agree. I think at the time when I first started to follow the game of basketball, I caught the tail end. I was born in '87, so I caught the tail end of his supremacy. But getting to just see even when he was playing for the Wizards, just still the fundamental game he still had there and his impact on the game. I mean, it was definite. It was very noticeable. Then when he played in the All Star game with Kobe and played in the All Star game with AI, that was probably one of the greatest All Star games they had. Kobe and MJ going head to head. You had Sean Marion. You had all the old school players out there going at it and playing. And Kobe hit that, or not Kobe, Jordan hit that fadeaway over Marion. I think I can't remember if it was to win it or to tie the game. I can't remember. Excuse me there for a second, but I can't remember the exact. But man, that was one of the All Star games to remember for sure that he did. Um, I'll say the guy, my NJ is my goat, hands down. Yeah, like I said, can't really argue it. My whole thing is I just want to see, I know this is a hot topic for a lot of fans, man. Like when you look this online in general, any kind of social media area, things you see right away is people going off at MJ is the GOAT, and then you got to have all the LeBron individuals. LeBron's the GOAT. So I'm very happy to talk about this because I can keep it right down the middle and not sway to either side of it, just because I have that respect for both players and what they brought to the table and their fandom as well. Jay Lynn, salute Queen, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping in. Jay Lynn's Goot is greatest of our time, because you can't have two greatest of all time, I guess, as an overall. But again, greatest of all time is just a title that is very opinionated. So it all depends on your opinion of the player. But I figured to kind of spice things up a little bit, put Goot, which is greatest of our time. That way, I think some people can kind of roll with that a little bit better than they do with the GOAT. So that way, again, you're giving other players the respect, along with at the same time, saying that this is the greatest of our generation, and I guess in lack of better words for that. So yeah, I'm very curious to see, like I said, what people's opinion, what their take is. Jalen, who do you have as your greatest of our time versus GOAT? Let me know who you have there. I think I already know, but I'm assuming she's probably going to say LeBron. W Right Side, salute, my brother. How you doing, man? Appreciate you stopping in. W Right Side, man. Let me know who do you have as your Goot versus your GOAT, man. Who's your GOAT or who's your greatest of our time, man? Definitely post in the comments so yeah. Jalen just laughing. Yeah, I kind of already knew. I knew LeBron just from being on Blue Show, that you were just kind of lighting people up about LeBron. So kind of already knew. W right side at Dare shirt, bro. Yeah, man. Got to throw it out there. Go throwback. When I used to run track back in the day, my uncle Larry Warren, the A1 Steppers, and out in Portland, Oregon, we had a bunch of Dare sponsored track meets, man. So it was so much fun. That was way, way, way back in the day, though. So still got to represent, man. Still got to try and keep these kids straight and narrow, man. Avoid them drugs if at all possible. Avoid every drug. If it ain't over the counter for a headache, don't take it. Um, yeah, so definitely just want to make sure pay the respects to the kids out there, man. And it's I know it's a cliche thing to say, it was say no to drugs. Just say no to drugs. It's not for anybody. Period. Let's see. My brother W Right Side said MJ is the GOAT, but I got Kobe as the GOAT. Yeah, that's what I just said, man. I said we're not gonna disrespect or skip over Kobe, man. I pay my respects and love Kobe too, man. What he brought to the table, like I was saying earlier, Kobe is literally MJ 2.0, man. That's why Jordan's the only person that could beat him in 1-on-1 probably would be Kobe because he know all his damn moves. That's exactly what he said, and there's a good reason why, man. There's a good reason why he said that because he knew Kobe had the mentality, that killer mentality to do it, the skill set, and the technical footwork, and everything else, and the commitment to the game to be able to give him a run for his money, if not beat him. So and then Kobe got, again, if we're going off of rings, Kobe got 5 rings, definitely more all defensive teams, things of that nature. So Kobe is right here too, but I feel that people, for some odd reason, again, instead of going MJ or instead of going LeBron to Kobe, they skip over Kobe and go right to LeBron to MJ. And I think it's more of a factor of overall power that he wields within the league and his star power, globally. I think that's the whole reason why people kind of skip over. But we all knew Kobe was a global superstar as well. I mean, anywhere he went, they're screaming Kobe and things of that nature. And we saw also, I mean, a tragic way of it as well. But in his passing, you saw the impact that he had on individual players and the city as a whole and the world. Man, you had people, literally out here, crying and emotional as if they lost a family member. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I was one of those ones when it happened. I was standing in my living room with I wasn't boo-hooing, but I had some water kind of going down the face that I wasn't sure where that came from, but and my wife made a joke at me, saying, "You crying?" I'm like, hey, just leave me alone, man. Leave me alone. I need a minute or two, okay? I need to take a time out. I need a minute or two. That's your brother, Dub Rice. I said, well, technically MJ is both, but for argument's sake, yeah, I hear you 100% there, man. Tupac said everyone wanted to be like MJ. Yeah, that's a fact, man. That's a fact. Absolutely, that's a fact. W. Rice says facts, and they both had a killer instinct that LeBron don't have at Jalen. Sorry, Queen. Dub Rice side taking a shot at Jalen. You can't really argue that. You know what I mean? You can't really he has a different instinct. I can say that he doesn't have that. I'm a do whatever it takes to win. That killer instinct, but he has a different type of killer instinct. You know what I mean? He'd rather go out to eat with you and steal your steak when you're not looking instead of with MJ and Kobe. They not only are they coming to your house while you eating dinner with your family, they're taking your food and sitting there and watching you. Making you watch them eat it. That's the kind of killer instinct and the disrespect they had, man. So it's different levels to it for sure. Jay Harrison, how come Kobe didn't make it to the list? No, Kobe's on the list, but it's just right now the hot topic of it is just MJ and LeBron, just due to the fact that it was All Star Weekend. Um, LeBron obviously back in Cleveland, so he was trying to show out for the Cleveland faithful. Still showed that that's still LeBron's house that he built. But when Jordan came, I mean, Jordan kind of he stole the spotlight. You had other Hall of Famers there, like Magic Johnson, for example. Magic Johnson was giggling as if Michael Jordan was like not tickling him, like Michael Jordan was whispering sweet nothings in his ear, or he was the funniest man on the floor. Like you don't really see too many Hall of Famers out there, man. All smiles, just laughing like little kids having fun out there, man. And it looks like they were just all excited to see Jordan, um, for the I would guess for the occasion. Obviously the last time I think he kind of came out for a public viewing like that was for the Kobe tribute and things of that nature. And this time around, you know what I mean? It was they were doing the top 75 players, and so MJ being there, I think shined a light, and a lot of people, again, they awed at the fact of what MJ brought to the game, but they were happy in his presence, man. His presence brings a different type of energy altogether. But I think the only person I can say that wasn't happy he was there probably was Isaiah Thomas, man. Isaiah Thomas is still strung up and upset at the fact that he was snubbed on the dream team, man. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you at some point, man, you gotta man up and deal with that, But you can't tell another man how to feel about another man. So that's on him. But I seen some footage of Isaiah Thomas talking to Magic Johnson, and he just completely ignored MJ, and MJ was right there. But then again, MJ don't care, man. MJ did what he did, and between the two, we all know who's the bigger star and more accomplished and things of that nature. So we'll leave that alone. It's not even worth debating or arguing about or even talking about. Queen Jillian said, "W. Rice said so true. I can't stand when some say LeBron James doesn't have a killer instinct." Let's see. W. Rice said, "But LeBron is more physically gifted player and is going to stuff the stat sheet." Yeah, W. Rice, are you right, man? Like from a physical standpoint, to be that size and that mobile, that quick, that durable, man. I think up until pretty much the latter part of his career, which is within the last couple years here, is when we've seen strenuous injuries that's kept him out of the lineup or made him miss some significant games. Other than that, man, I mean, spending over $1 million a year annually on your body, I mean, his you can see from a physical standpoint, man, like why he didn't, rarely get injured, or the fact that he's able to still play at such a high level at the latter stage in his career. So I think that contributes to a lot. Again, his commitment to the game, his commitment to taking care of his body. So again, man, you spend 1 million plus a year annually on your body, and you're able to have this kind of longevity. You can only imagine. I can only imagine if Jordan would have done the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, how long could he have actually played at a very high level? I mean, obviously, we know he retired and came back, and things of that nature. So I'm sure that impacted his longevity standpoint. It impacted his ability to kind of stay within the game and have that feel within the game as well. So I really wish that he would have been able to kind of see if he can run off 7 straight, run off 8 straight. If obviously if Chicago wouldn't have broken up, or if he would have never retired, could they have won? Could he have had 7 titles instead of having 6? You just never know. It's a lot of unanswered questions, but I think for a lot of people, when they do the debate between LeBron and MJ, the first thing they go to right away is, oh, MJ 6-0 in the finals right away, 6-0 in the finals. And then they bring up, LeBron's record being, what is he, 4-6, 4-7, one of the two. I can't remember. I think it's 4-6, right? Somebody in the chat correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's 4-6 in the finals. That's the first thing to do is argue, finals and things of that nature. I think it's impressive to get to the finals 10 times, if you ask me personally. My brother DP Rock in the building. Salute to you, brother. Appreciate you stopping through, man. I think it's impressive to get to the finals 10 times, to be honest with you. And again, I'm not going to leave my man Kobe out the bay. Kobe won 5 out of 7. Again, that's impressive to get there 7 times and win it 5 times. So you can't sleep on that, man. If you want to base it off the percentages of it, that's what we got. You know what I mean? But obviously, if we're going to go off of rings in total, we all know Bill Russell's the GOAT. Got the most amount of rings, 11 rings. So, I mean, I don't see anybody catching that, especially at the time that he was playing the competition level that he was playing against. It's obviously worlds of difference now. But from a ring standpoint, you got to throw him up there right away. Me personally, I think if he was to if Bill Russell was to play in this day and age, I don't think he'd be that dominant as far as winning that many rings. I hate to say it, but I doubt that he probably would even win one unless he's obviously teamed up with another player. But because you got players nowadays, let's just say for example, Kevin Durant is probably just as tall, if not taller, than Bill Russell. And I'm thinking in my mind and everybody else's mind that Kevin Durant would cook Bill Russell if Bill Russell was in his prime. And again, he would get bodied by a lot of these players. So again, it's all based off of the time and the era you played in. You know what I mean? My brother W. Rice said Jalen has definitely developed into a more clutch player, but it's so many different times he come up short. Jordan and Kobe wasn't coming up short the way LeBron did against the Mavs. Yeah, yeah, Dub Rice. I have to agree with you a little bit there, just to play devil's advocate though. For that, I think for him, that was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first times where he was in a situation where he was favored to win the chip. And I think in that moment, he just didn't, he was kind of caught up in the fact of, oh, I'm on Dwayne Wade's team, or the moment, not really understanding, not really knowing, not wanting to kind of, again, playing devil's advocate here. I think he didn't want to step on Dwayne Wade's feet or toes, to sort of speak. But at the end of the day, I think that's why D Wade came out, man, and told him flat out, like, look, this is your team. We're here for you. You are the best player. We need you to be the best player. We can go as far as you can take us. Um, so that's why in the next year when they ran it back, man, they popped it off and got it. And I think that helped LeBron a lot because we all know it. Like I said, what he brings to the table is a gifted player, all his gifts that he has and what he can bring to the table. But it's the mental aspect with him as far as, like, you know what I mean? Like being in that situation, obviously as basketball fans or deep dive basketball fans would absolutely expected him to be able to step into that, understand the moment, and take over. I hate to say it, like you just said, if that was MJ or Kobe, in that situation where they have the opportunity and they're playing against a team like that. And again, this is no shot at the Mavs because they got their championship and they actually played smart basketball and they won, and the better team won at that time. And that it had to do with a lot of coaching schemes, defensive schemes, shot selections, things of that nature. They did a lot to throw them off, to throw off the rhythm and balance too. So you just have to go back and watch it, and you will see what I mean. But again, I personally feel that there was pretty much no reason as to why LeBron shouldn't have been able to slam on the gas and just take over and then just deal from emotional standpoint or anything like that. Just deal with everything that comes with it afterwards. You know what I mean? You can't shrink in that particular moment. Like, and I think he, if I'm not mistaken, he also said, that was one of the toughest things for him as far as as a moment that he I wouldn't say hated, but it taught him a lot at that point in time, and losing those finals. It made him question a lot of things. And like I said, Dwayne Wade being the man that he is and the friend that he is to him, you know what I mean? He went to LeBron and told him, like, hey, this is your team. You're the man. We need you to lead us to the promised land. And so I think with him, that took a monkey off his back. It allowed him to be able to kind of play a little bit more carefree and get the job done for him to get his first ring. You know what I mean? And then so from there, it taught him how to win, how to be able to understand those bigger moments, and how to dig deep into that either mamba mentality, killer instinct, whatever you want to call it. It taught him how to dig deep and be able to get there in order to give himself the best opportunity to win a championship. And that's just me from a standpoint, again, playing devil's advocate of the fact of of LeBron in his heyday and what he was thinking when that first time around too. Um, Jalen said, Jalen Cody didn't go to college. Yeah, yeah, W. Right side. Kobe didn't go to college, but his pops played professionally, and Kobe also was playing professionally over in Italy, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like, God, I want to say like 13. He was a young teenager, and he was playing against grown-ups. You know what I mean? So and that's the same with Luca. So I mean, that's why he kind of came with more of a confidence about himself, is the fact that he was playing against grown-ups as a teenager. So that's why Kobe wasn't afraid to take those shots, those big shot moments. Even though he airballed his first few shots, he still wasn't discouraged. You know what I mean? Only thing they did was made him have to get in that gym and put in the work even more. A lot of 18-year olds, even 18, 19 year olds, or even young men in general at that time, they would have crumbled under that pressure. You know what I mean? Dealing with something like that at that level and magnitude, to go up, airball a couple of shots, come back, take another one, and still airball or miss, or pretty much just shrink in that moment, but you're still trying. That says a lot about his character, man. Like, he literally was out there trying, but didn't shrink. He just missed the shots. And so for him, it wasn't. It literally just made him say he has to go harder. I have to. It made that chip on his shoulder into a a king size, a large or party size bag at that point. You know what I mean? Um, as E.W. Rice said, but I think LeBron came into the league with more pressure than anyone in history, and then he to get drafted by the Cavs, he's deemed to be the savior right away. He needed time to grow mentally and emotionally. Yeah, W. Rice, you got a valid point there, man. He did. I would say he probably is the he has to be. I hate to say it, but he has to be probably had the highest expectation and pressure amongst any player drafted in NBA history. As a kid at 18, what I mean, and they literally said he was the absolute champion to save this actual, to save what is it? This franchise, save this city, bring back basketball, things that or not bring back basketball, but let's save this franchise and save everything about it. You know what I mean? At 18 years old, to shoulder that and then come out. I think his first game, he put up 20 plus points. I think he was like 20. It was like 20 plus points, seven, 7 or 8 boards, and like 6 assists or something like that. So he put up a solid stat line for his first game. So you know what I mean? LeBron came in with that pressure, answered that pressure, and then he just pretty much steadily evolved as a player from that point forward. He never digressed as far as a player. The only thing I would say I wish that he would have worked on to get go, coming into the league, or at least consistently, would probably shooting free throws. But again, man, I guess God can't bless you with everything, but I feel free throws are one of those things that if you work at it enough, you can be able to shoot them with your eyes closed. No pun intended. Jordan did that in the game and told Mutombo, "This is for you, baby." You know what I mean? So I think it all boils down to that. Free throws again is all about practice, mentality of it, and putting in that time. But for LeBron, like I said, I think for him, his impact on the game in so many different ways. I feel I'm sure he probably does shoot free throws, but at the same time, his impact on the game goes beyond that, though, as far as like how he feels in viewing from a priority level. You know what I mean? So I wish that he would be an 80+% free throw shooter, but he definitely would have been an all-time leading scorer in the NBA a long time ago. But can't have everything, right? You can't have everything. Um, Brother W. Rice said Kobe sat on the bench his first year, and then also had Shaq to help guide him. LeBron was the yeah, but W. Rice, I again played devil advocate there. Kobe didn't have Shaq his second year. Kobe had Eddie Jones and Nick Van Axel and Campbell. He had some veterans on that team to be able to kind of guide and mentor him. And from that aspect, from a guards position, I think Shaq came Kobe's third year, I believe. I could be wrong. You can fact check it for me. I could be wrong. I think Shaq came his third year when Kobe was there. But yeah, you're definitely right though. Like I said, you can't take a shot at Boobie Gibson. Come on, man. You can't take a shot at Boobie Gibson. I think LeBron, like I said, he came in with that pressure that was out of this world, man. So he came in and answered the bell. That's the easy way to put it, man. Like, what are the 18-year-olds with the weight of your city on your shoulders, and you deliver from an aspect of like from an individual talent. I know they still had a losing record this first year, but ever since that point, though, they no longer had a losing record. I mean, obviously, he didn't have the top tier team on every single year or the first year, but at the same time, he after that first year, man, like, they had a winning record ever since. I mean, once he left, Kyrie was there on his own. They had a losing record, but from that point, they never had a losing record. Shout out to my brother Alex. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you coming through, showing some love, man, hanging out with us here. Yeah, he I gotta say, yeah, Shaq came later, but LeBron had some crazy pressure to an organization that never knew when. Yeah, Alex, you got a point. You got a point, man. You definitely got a point that Shaq came and Yeah, it was a little bit past that prime point for Shaq, but Shaq still had a lot to offer, man. Not only from we'll just say let's take it off the court, just the fact of his what he understands, how he understands the game, his dominance, how long he's been around, and the level he's played at. That's experience that can't be taught, man. Like that's something that having that kind of winning mentality around you does a lot for your locker room. And so I think with Shaq being there, he was able to teach Bron a few things and help him out. Obviously, Shaq won it with Kobe and D Wade, two of the greatest two guards ever. You know what I mean? So he absolutely knows how to either mold or how to come in, how to tell these players, hey, this is what winners do, and this is how we're gonna get there. Obviously, we all know, Shaq didn't come in didn't take care of himself as much as Kobe would deem it. You know what I mean? He didn't have that fanatic in the gym day in and day out situation like Kobe did. But at the same time, Shaq was in there working on his game, but he just didn't commit himself at the same level as Kobe did when it comes to being in the gym and his commitment or his level of commitment. But when it comes to experience and being able to tell you things, in the situation and being able to contribute, Shaq can absolutely be of help, be of great help, actually. My brother Alex says it's Cleveland, man. Let's see. W. Right side said Shaq and Kobe both got to the Lakers in '96. Okay, okay. Thanks for fact checking that, Dub Right side. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if you sure Shaq got there in '90 in the same season. I thought Cole played 1 year without Shaq when he first got there though. I think it was his first year, right? Or did Shaq come mid-season? I can't remember with the trade. I'll have to look that up. I can't remember the trade. Actually, no, let me take a peek right now. Let me take a peek right now. Let's take a peek, man. Let's take a peek. When was Shaq traded to the Lakers? Oh, he did come in '96. Okay, okay, perfect. Thank you for fact checking that for me. No, he came in '96, but obviously, Shaq was already. I wouldn't say, yeah, you can say that Shaq was already pretty much considered a main man at that point, or a made man at that point. Man, everybody knew who the Diesel was and he was coming through. Man, definitely knew who the Diesel was and he was coming through. Um, let's see. Yep, Alex, good point. Good point. Alex and the right side, good point. No, Alex Shaq came in '96 because I'm looking at it here because I was curious to that myself. He came in '96. That's when it's calling it the Great Heist when the Great Heist that freaking Orlando let go of Shaq, man. Pardon me, people. Let's take a look here, man. Let's take a look. Try to get an exact date if I can here really quick. Let's see. Let's see if we get an exact date here really quick. So it's just saying, yeah, it just has a 90 and 96. But either way, they were there because Kobe was drafted that year as well. So I'm sure, yeah, Kobe was at that time, man. He was joining the team again that had Eddie Jones, Nick Van Exel, had a bunch of other two guards. So they're not gonna throw a rookie in there, starting over these veterans that's been putting in work, all these years into the league. So, he got his opportunity. He showed he was fearless. I think, again, one of the things that kind of flashed some lights at being a potential superstar is the fact that he had that crossover and dunk down the middle, man. And you saw, again, Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel going crazy on that sideline. So I think for a lot of them, when you see stuff like that, you start to kind of, okay, we see the athleticism. Now let's see, his commitment and his drive to get better. What can he do? What can he present to the table? So things of that nature. So yeah, um, what Alex said, Jerry made a lot of great moves for a lot of teams in the NBA in particular. Yeah, you're definitely right about that, Alex. Jerry West is you can definitely consider him behind the scenes, man. Is probably one of the greatest GMs, if not trade facilitators in NBA history. If not the best, he's absolutely up there as the top two at minimum. Top two at minimum. So let's get back to this, man. I honestly want to know, who do y'all have as your GOAT or your Goot? And again, Goot stands for greatest of our time, and we all know what GOAT stands for, greatest of all time. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. I got a few of y'all already said who y'all got. Y'all got Bron. Some of y'all got MJ. Yeah, I didn't even have to let again Jalen even say who she had. We all know she had LeBron right away. Brother Alex says, yeah, I love LeBron. Alex, why do you have Jordan has that mystique? Yeah, yeah, man. Brother W. Right side, but I've heard stories about him talking big in practice against Eddie Jones, and Eddie Jones was considered lockdown. Yeah, Dub Right side, I heard of that too, man. I heard that too. Actually, when I had the opportunity to meet him, man, I asked him about. That was one of the things I actually asked him. That was many, many years ago when I was young. I asked him, you know what I mean, like when you were in practice going against Eddie Jones, how was it? Because again, Eddie was considered that lockdown, and he could score. He was like, man, all he was like, only thing I used to say to Eddie is, you was a lockdown defender and all this, but I'm the new wave. I'm gonna bust yo. You know what? that, that's what he told me when I met him when I was younger, man. He said, I'm gonna bust yo. You know what? You was lockdown defender, but you can't do nothing with me. I was like, all right. Confidence levels are through the roof, man. Through the absolute roof. But yeah, you're right, Alex. Jordan has that mystique, man. I was explaining that earlier. If you see some of the clips, and when they were doing the during the halftime, or even after the games and stuff, or after the game, you could see, when Jordan was around, you see players smiling and grinning as if they just won the lottery, or they seen, their superhero growing up kind of thing. You saw Magic Johnson giggling like, he was being tickled or something. Like, so it was a lot of things, man. You just had to look at it and see. And when Jordan was around, that's what you get. And then Brown comes around, you don't have that same mystique, kind of thing. Um, so Alex, let me know, who do you have as your Goot and who do you have as your GOAT? Again, Goot is greatest of our time versus greatest of all time. Let me know what you think, man. Brother, peace be free in the building. Salute to you, man. You got Steph Curry. Steph Curry is what? You gotta let me know. Steph Curry is what, man? Steph Curry is what? And if you haven't already, man, if you just start popping through, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Again, just rocking out, getting started on this whole thing. So definitely want to get everybody's take on this too. Jay Lynn said, "See, I love LeBron too, but I do respect MJ's game. Everybody wanted and wants to be like Mike." Yeah, but the thing is, Jalen, that's starting to switch a little bit. Everybody, it went away from the mid range, the fadeaway, the tongue out. Now everybody's, the mouthpiece dangling out the mouth and shoot from half court and doing the wiggle and all that, man. And that carefree ball, everybody wanted to be like Steph at this point. And the reason being, man, I think people are able to relate to Steph more because he's my height, man, 6'3", and he's not the strongest, can't jump out of the gym, but at the end of the day, put in that hard work, man, and shooters can shoot. So I think that's why a lot of people are able to relate to the point of that atmosphere around Steph, is the fact that he's such a humble and such, just a casual everyday guy, where he's, again, at the height he's at, he's not going to dominate you, but at the same time he's still able to affect and dominate the game and other different aspects of it. And there's literally like pretty much nothing people can do about it. We saw in the All-Star game, what happened. The man got hot and was shooting logo turnaround 3 pointers, on people. He's pulling up from everywhere, and he's comfortable doing it. That's the thing. When you're comfortable doing something, you're 9 times out of 10, you're absolutely gonna nail it, whatever it is. It's all about comfortability, man. Peace be free said, Goot. Yeah, I had to come up with that, man. I don't know if anybody else has coined that or not. I'm hoping not. I hope to be the first channel, so hopefully you heard it here first. But yeah, greatest of our time, man, versus greatest of all time. And who do you guys have for which? Which 23 was the best? Alex says LeBron has so many other categories and background. Jordan is always going to have that timing when he came into the league, the anticipation, waiting for Mike to break through as a champion. Um, yeah, I guess you can see. And when he didn't let the throne go 2 years, 2 years because of leaving the game. Yeah, you got a good point there, Alex. Man, you got an absolutely good point there. It, I think that's the thing, man. I explained in my video from last night. Go check that out if you guys haven't. That I think from the point of view when people see LeBron, they see a person that is willing to make the right basketball play to win the game, and then you see another person in Jordan who is willing to trip you and kick you in the back of your head to win a game if he has to. You know what I mean? That cutthroat mentality of I'm going to get this win, I'm going to get this championship at all costs, no matter what, kind of thing. And I think a lot of people, um, I'll go with let's just say 80s babies and older can understand that mentality. They appreciate that, and I think that's why a lot of us were able to kind of transition over to Kobe. Once Michael stepped away from the game officially, and a lot of us were able to kind of slide right over to Kobe Bryant and have that same mentality because Kobe again was Jordan 2.0. He might not have the airness and all that, but at the same time, fadeaway, tongue out, armband, knee band, all were the same, man. Fadeaway shot, the shot itself, mentality, everything. He was a dog on both sides of the court, man. 5 rings. And again, he wanted to grab the bull by the horn and show in the biggest moments that he was clutch, which is why, Shaq kind of once Shaq left after they three-peated, he ran all 2 more rings. And again, he didn't have a Shaq caliber level, but he also had a team that was built, around Kobe, and Kobe being essential to being able to showcase his talents. MJ, obviously we all know MJ had Scotty and Phil. He had the perfect team around him, where it was, you had 2 dominant wings, and at that time, it was almost a wing centric league where you had, MJ and Kobe, or MJ and Scotty out here just going to work on people, man. I mean, you look at it when they had the dream team when Mike and Scotty was out there playing defense and they decided to turn it up a notch on defense and lock you down, there was nothing you can do about it. I mean, you got a guy, MJ 6'6", and you got Scotty, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'7". Somebody can fact check me on that. Scotty's between 6'7", and 6'9". And with that athleticism, that speed, that game IQ, what can you do with something like that? You know what I mean? They're going to turn you. They play together, and they know when they're going to turn you. So you got the other one that's turning you, and he's going to coming to get the steal. And there's not much you can do about that. So it was like, a lot of people had troubles with dealing with that. You know what I mean? We saw how they were able to run out 2 consecutive 3 points, three-peats. Sorry, three-peats. Brother Alex said trademark it. Yeah, I might have to trademark that, man. And Goot. Like I said, you heard it here first. W. Right side said, y'all know MJ will always be the GOAT because of Jordans. Yeah, people wearing J's at their weddings these days, and J's are acceptable everywhere. Hey, that's a fact, man. You can't argue that. Cannot argue that whatsoever. Jalen said MJ and LBJ talents are God given and hard work. Absolutely. Alex said he battled Magic, Larry, and Isaiah. That's a fact. I'll touch on that. We all know what Magic said, man, when he started trash talking Jordan and when they was having that practice and Jordan started lighting him up. And then he told him, there's a new sheriff in town. And Magic looked over at Larry Bird and told him he ain't lying. And we all know Larry Bird called Jordan, and he was like, as God disguised as Jordan. Called him Black Jesus pretty much out there, man. And Jordan ran with it, started telling people, don't you ever talk back to Black Jesus. Isaiah, yeah, Isaiah had the bad boy Pistons with him, man. That's why he was able to do battle. Otherwise, if Isaiah was by himself, I think he would have dusted Isaiah. I hate to say it, but I'm just being honest, man. The bad boy Pistons is what had Isaiah's back. If he played for any other team, I don't think that same kind of air like that would be with him, man. And again, that's just my own personal opinion of it. Isaiah hates him for it because I think Isaiah knows it outside of him being snugged from the dream team. But you know what I mean? There's nothing you can do about that. Um, so, brother, Dub Rice said Steph has definitely changed the game as well. Definitely agree with Peace Be Free. Yeah, Steph changed the game, man, and I told you why. People can relate to him, man. When you see a 6'3" guy out there able to dominate in the fashion and the way he does things, and again, he's not 6'6", he's not 6'9". That's why people can relate. And again, I mean, if you were to see Steph somewhere, man, I mean, you probably call him a pretty boy or something like that. But at the end of the day, Steph has that. Oh, we're talking. Okay, I'm gonna come out here. We're gonna get into this kind of thing. Like some people even say, man, Steph has a more bigger killer instinct than LeBron. The way how he goes about the game, and I'll leave that for another day, man. Talk about that topic too. So I definitely agree with that, man. Let's see. Let's see what else we got in the chat here. Jalen said, LBJ makes others great around him. Yeah, that's true. He makes others great around him, but he also puts others around him that just needed somebody to kind of be able to put him in a standpoint to show they can either shoot or they have that fundamental aspects of it too. So that's something LeBron definitely brings to the table, and he does too. Peace be free, my brother. Said W. Right side, good vibes, absolutely. Um, He's like, you see what you see what they did. No, Bryce like, you see what they did to Tony Kukoc? Yeah, man. I told that's what I was talking about. I was referencing back to it, man. When they had that dream team lineup and they told him, all right, this is the guy that's supposed to be drafted, or when MJ said in his documentary, man, The Last Dance, this is the guy you're bringing in to so called be the new face of this team and things like that. Okay, we got something for him. And so Scotty and MJ, man, they ramped it up. They ramped it up completely on tour. Poor Tony, poor Tony at that time, man. And he even said like, "What did I do to these guys, man? What did I do?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, you became a teammate, but at the same time, man, you had people speaking highly of you to two players that found that it was disrespectful to them. So they had to show you the difference, man. Come over here and carry these bags, young fella." Pretty much, man. And see, we got Alex say, yeah, man. Even though Larry would cook MJ, they all knew once they got to a team around him. Yeah, yeah, Alex. Larry, man, that's the thing. Larry slept on. Larry is absolutely slept on, man. Larry was such a beast in his time. I would tell people if you haven't already, go look up YouTube videos of Larry. Go look at the trash talk. Go look at the fact that he was bagging up the trash talk, telling players, I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna shoot this right in your eye from the 3 point line in the corner. I'm gonna shoot this right in your eye, and I'm telling you what I'm gonna do as soon as I get the ball, and go right over there and do it. Shows up to the 3 point contest at All Star Weekend. Who showed up for second place? Like he walking in the locker room, who showed? I see you guys showed up for second place. Like, and then go out there and win it. You know what I mean? So Larry was out there, man, and Larry wasn't afraid to get down and dirty. We all saw when he squared up with Dr. J, and they threw hands. You know what I mean? They had the Big Dipper out there, or what did they call him? A big child? I can't remember. Can't remember what his nickname, but yeah, man, Larry was I think Indiana bred and born, man. He was willing to throw hands, didn't care. Larry, yeah, man. Larry was that guy, and there's a reason why a lot of old school, you know what I'm saying, MJ era players give Larry his due, man. Like if you don't know about Larry the Legend, you better look Larry up. I can tell you that much. I give Larry his respects and tell him like that man was it at his time and during it. He wasn't afraid of anything. He'd go at everybody. And again, we saw him go at MJ. But again, MJ lit him up and he called him, that's Black Jesus, or that's Jesus dressed in as Michael Jordan, man. Brother Alex said Steph has that Isaiah kind of instinct, small and smiles, but he really wants to put a dagger in you, and he can do it from anywhere on the court. That All Star game performance was yeah, absolutely was no coincidence at all. Absolutely not. And that's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, it was either last year or the year before where TNT messed that up, man. But you know what I mean? It was at the end of the game, and Bron told him, he was like, they were telling shoot it, and he just pulls up from half court, and nails it. End of the game, just pulls it, but they didn't catch it. You know what I mean? Like the camera had cut out and was showing everything else, showing people like, but it was like literally like a few seconds left in the game. And that man has unlimited range, man. He can shoot from anywhere, and he shoots it comfortably from anywhere. That's the dangerous thing about it. Like I said earlier, if you're comfortable when you're doing something, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna work out for you. And we see all the time with Steph, man. Like even he's in a shooting slump, you still have to assume his next shot is gonna go in, and there's no way you're gonna leave him wide open at all. So every single time you see Steph out there, you have to assume his shot's gonna go in every single time. And it's crazy to think that, man. And if you just joined in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Again, let me know what you think in the chat. Who you have as your Goot, greatest of our time, versus your Goat, greatest of all time. Between we got Brown and MJ on the selection panel, man. Brother Alex said they say Larry is slow or whatever, but his instincts and quickness was uncanny. He can score and lead a team. Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely. I agree 1,000% with you, man. Is Jokic? Let's see. Is Jokic can play in today's game? Larry definitely can play. Yeah, I agree because he's very crafty and he's very fundamental and he knows how to use it's a right burst. You have to understand it and know how your change of speed. You have to be able to have change of speed in NBA to be successful and to make it. You have to know when to do so. Let's look at Trey Young for example, right? Everyone thinks Trey Young is extremely fast, right? He just knows how to use change of pace and change of speed very well to be able to get past somebody, use the quickness, use the size to their like to use the size and speed to his advantage, literally by doing change of pace and change of speed, knowing how knowing what angles to take and things of that nature. And a lot of players, even Jokic, man, look at Jokic. Jokic doesn't look like he can jump over a phone booth or a phone book. You know what I mean? He does. He looks like he could not jump over a phone book, but it's rare that you see his shot get blocked. You know what I mean? And he's playing against other guys as 7 footers or other guys that can jump out of the gym. The reason being is because he is fundamentally sound and he knows how to use change of pace, knows how to use angles and use his body. Exact same thing goes into play. Exact same things. I mean, I saw that when he shoots a jumper, he shoots the things, he launches it from behind his head, but at the end of the day, it still goes in. You know what I mean? So we'll give that man his respect too. Let's see. They see Larry. My brother, I don't see that. Yeah, Alex, they cut the cam, man. I just remember hearing the crowd reaction. Then later on, they released a different angle of like a replay of it, just showing it. Oh, that's crazy. Well, the right side say MJ playing in that era also make him the GOAT. Everyone is friends today in the league. Back then, they really hated each other on and off the court. Didn't have anything to say. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree with you 1,000%. Back then, man, it was more of a we are going to compete and we are going to punch each other out if we have to get this W. It doesn't matter how we do it, scratch, claw, trip. It doesn't matter. We're gonna do what we have to do to get here and get this win. And that was in an era where it was tough, man. Like it was tough. And again, you can go back and just watch highlights. Just pick a random team. It doesn't have to be Michael Jordan back in the '90s, man. Go back and pick a random team and just watch a game, and you can tell fouls that are that like now those would be deemed as flagrant twos. They'd be ejecting people left and right, finding them and suspending them for games at a time for what they had back then is either a common foul or a play on. They weren't calling technical fouls unless you start throwing punches, and even then they might say, "Well, who started it?" We may give out one technical. So that's the thing though, is my only argument against that though, double right side is like you can't consider somebody greatest of all time just based off their era. It's due to the fact of that's the era that they were, born to play in. That's the era that they just happened to play in at that point in time. My thing is more along the lines of, okay, at this point, when you look at his game, can it be something that can transpire over, multiple eras? Can he play in any era? Is what I consider when you start to really have that GOAT debate. That's when you can really say his game it can translate in any era, and that's when you can really be able to argue someone down about it. But that's why I also threw out there this new coin phrase, Goot, greatest of our time. I think a lot of people probably can agree with that. But at the same time, for greatest of our time, you also can't skip over the fact that he did play in the same time when Kobe was playing. We wanted that dream matchup of the Lakers versus Cleveland at that time when Kobe was in his prime and Bron was in his I would say youthful prime. You know what I mean? He wasn't into his prime that he is now, where he understands the game and he wills the power that he wills now. But we all remember those Sprite commercials. We remember those commercials of who do you got, Kobe or LeBron? You got Kobe or this. We got the we frenzied for the Lakers versus Cleveland in the NBA Finals, almost the same, if not more than the same, as people frenzied in boxing for that Mayweather Pacquiao. People frenzying now for that Earl Spence versus Bud. Like literally, I kid you not, like that was the frenzy at that point in time because people wanted to see the two best players at that time go at it and truly see who was the best. Excuse me one second. I can say this. Kobe did his job. Kobe got there to the finals and he had waited for Bron. At that point, Brown was running into situations over in the East where, it just never came to fruition, unfortunately. It would have been great to see, how Braun would have been able to deal, with the Kobe Bryant that was in his prime and would have went at him the way he did. So we got to see what? We got to see in All-Star games when Kobe had the opportunity, he would go at Bron. In those All-Star games, man, when one of the last few All-Star games where Kobe literally was guarding Bron full court, picked him up half court, he ripped him, he blocked him, you know what I mean? And everything. Like Kobe, he came from that era, that competitive nature where I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get here to punch you in the mouth and take this game over. One strike and you're dead type of mentality. And so that was one of the things again that a lot of people kind of skip over and gloss over and not even think about is the fact of that. Um, that I wish we would have been able to see that. And unfortunately, that was something that that we couldn't see. You know what I mean? Alex said still hate every. Alex said right. So MJ still hate everybody, but last weekend he looked more down to earth, trying to be more friendly, except to Isaiah and Barkley. Yeah, man. Jordan's one of the people. You cross him, it's over with you. He don't want nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Nothing to do with you whatsoever. But let's see what else we got here. W. Rice, I said Bird, Zeke, Rodman would have broke LeBron's spirit. I think Kobe would have made it back then because of mindset. Yeah, I agree with that, W. Rice. I agree with that 1,000%, man. I feel like I said, I think Kobe can play in any era, and I think MJ can play in any era. And I think for them, you know what I mean, the way he went about it, man, was just like kill or be killed. And a lot of these players nowadays, it's you have a few that's still trying to hold on or bring that back. But at the end of the day, it's like it's still kind of extremely buddy buddy. You can't call it soft. It's just more of a player friendly era that we're playing that we're seeing right now. You know what I mean? And that's just what we're getting. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. Alex W. Rice, I think different. If someone was in the era, they would be nothing else but how the game is played. Rasheed tried to say LeBron wouldn't play in his era. What era? I think Alex. I think for Rasheed at his age, he. God, I can't remember how long. Let me take a look at that. Actually, I'm very curious to that myself now. Let's see. Sheed. So Rasheed was actually he was drafted in '95. So I think she's talking about back in that mid to late '90s to extremely early 2000s. So I would let's just go 90. Let's just go '95 to like 2002, and then LeBron came, and I think that was 2003 when LeBron was drafted. It started to trend a little bit differently. You still had situations, malice in the past, things of that nature, but at least started kind of trending a little different. But it wasn't like in the '90s where again you had the Jordan rules, you had people getting knocked out of midair, and like I was telling everybody, man. And again, if you're new, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Like I was saying earlier, is that for 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 that time and era, man, you can go and you can pull up any random game in the '90s, right? Any random game in the '90s, and you're going to see flagrant two fouls on a regular basis, and they either would call a foul or not call a foul. It was a no call or a foul. They weren't reviewing for technicals. They weren't reviewing for flagrants, anything like that. They didn't care. They were allowing you to clothesline somebody out of midair, and if they make the shot, it's a play on. If they miss it, depending on if he busts his head or not, they may call foul. Um, Exaggerating a little bit, but it was extremely close to that, man. Like they were just allowing those boys to go out there and play, man. Like they were just go out here and play and do what you need to do. That's how they put it. Let's see. Alex said LeBron cooked the Pistons for 25 with Rasheed on the team. Yeah, but that was an old Rasheed. But at the same time, I agree with you 1,000%. He absolutely destroyed that team. Um, and I think that was I think LeBron's breakthrough moment of kind of announcing that I'm here. This is what I do. I am here, and I am one of the greatest, if not trying to cement myself as being considered as one of the greatest basketball players too. Hey, shout out to my brother Mad Chat Sports in the building and Edwin Castillo. Appreciate you guys coming through, showing love, man. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But yeah, and Edwin and Matt Chat, man, let me know who you guys got is your Goot or Goat. Again, Goot, greatest of our time versus greatest of all time. Let me know who you got. Um, but yeah, when LeBron dropped that 25 on them, man, it was definitely a breakout party and his coming out party, man. Like I feel that was his coming out party, letting people know that he's serious and he is who he is. And I just feel that, like I said, man, it was just he digs in that bag when he needs to, but I feel that a lot of people want him to stay in that bag at all times. You know what I mean? They want him to be that killer that MJ and Kobe was. You know what I mean? Let's see. Jalen said LeBron can play in any era too. You think so, Jalen? What? Let me know why you think LeBron can play in any era. Let's see, Alex Neves, but you had a tough Pistons team that was a defensive oriented team. Wallace Prince, yeah, I agree 1,000%, man. You had the bad boy Pistons 2.0 pretty much when you had that team that had Rasheed, when they had other freaking other Wallace, Ben Wallace, and you had Prince, you had Hamilton, you had Mr. Big Shot Chauncey out there. So you had a lot of players, man. Again, that played D and they played hard. My brother Edwin Castillo said, "Hey, well, who's on salute, my brother? Not sure how many you've done, but catching your live, my bro. I appreciate you, Edwin. I've only done a handful. I haven't done too many. Haven't done too many of them. Would like to do more, but as time presents itself, man, I'll just keep dropping videos and content, and jump on a live here every now and then, so then that way I can have some time to spend with you all. Um, Jalen said, right, and MJ started hitting weights. Yeah, Jalen, he had to hit those weights. He was getting, you know what I mean, absolutely getting destroyed out there, man. So he had to bulk up and be able to live up to that physicality that he was dealing with during that time. My brother Matt Chad said, I got LeBron as or MJ as the goat, and LeBron as the Goot. Hey, can't really again, you can't really argue it, man. That's why I threw out that other phrase, because if you say the greatest of all time, people automatically jump straight to Jordan being 6-0 in the finals and LeBron being 4-6 or 4-7. Again, let me look that up so I can get that right, man. I don't want to say um, I don't want to say the wrong thing here. So I think he's 4-7, right? Let's see. I'll take a look. See. Yeah. So yeah, I feel bad for him, honestly, because like just but again, it's still a major thing to get there that many times, man. To get there 10 or 10 times, that's insane. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's something that you can't sleep on, nor can you disrespect it. To get there that many times and consistently, that's the thing, consistently get there. Even if you come up short or not. I mean, he faced arguably one of the greatest offensive teams you've ever seen. KD, Clay, and Steph. Like, that team itself, man, that is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, offensive team that you can put together. Like, that is what you call a juggernaut of a dynasty, and he just having to run up against that team. So that's the unfortunate thing. I think, yeah, I won't deep dive into that part, but I just feel it is an accomplishment to get there as many times that he did, and again, what he brings to the table for that. So I have to agree with you on that one. See, Alex said, let's see, I think the all-time greats can play in any era if you're suspending time and placing them in the era that the game. Yeah, Alex, I agree with that. But the only thing I have to say to play devil's advocate for the fact of that is, do you think Bill Russell could be as accomplished or as dominant now in today's day and age as he was back then? I guess that's my question. I would have for you on that one. If because again, we all know Bill got 11 rings. Nobody's catching that or coming close to it. So let me know what you think about that. Let's see, it's 12 people in the building and only got 13 likes. Yeah, yeah, Del Rice. That's what I'm saying, man. He's saying moonlight and get the likes to 250. Yeah, man. That's my brother Blue, man. My brother Blue every time, man. In here moonlight and get those likes up. I'm tired of saying this, man. That's my brother right there, man. Blue had me cracking up when he be on people about that stuff, man. That moonlight. And I told him, they got moonshine and they moonlight, man. You can't help somebody do something about that, man. Let's see, Jalen said yes because he would adapt. He's a competitive player. Okay, Jalen, I have to agree. He is competitive, but when you're out, like, let me ask you this, Jalen: if you got prime MJ and prime LeBron in the finals, who do you think is going to win that? With the best teams they have, who do you think is going to win that? That's my question to you. Who do you have for that? Brother Edwin said, "Bro, if MJ came up on LeBron, he turned into saying people were saying that Thanos snap." Oh man, brother Edwin, crazy. Look at the definition of LeBron here. Thanks to, oh man, Edwin clowning, man. Edwin clowning over there, man. Brother Match has said, how many years has LeBron been at the top of his game since he entered the league? Matt Chad, man, if you want me to be honest with you, being at the top of his game or being considered one of the greatest players in the league, or at least being top 10, I would go his second year. As bad as that may sound, a lot of people may get on me about that, but when you go back and actually look at it from the standpoint of being in his second year in the league, I think a lot of people would say that he probably was in the top 10 in the NBA since his second year in the league, top 10. Just his talent, what he was doing, and everything like that. And then when he bulked up and brought on that size, that's when it started to truly make a difference, and people started to notice and starting to share it, man, and being able to see what he could do. So that's just my personal opinion, what I think. But um, a lot of people may say differently. But I think as far as he's been at the top of his game, probably since the second year, where he's been considered in the top 10, and then obviously over the past, however many more from there, once he started making the finals, people started, throwing him in the top three, if not calling him the greatest of all time. So yeah, that's one thing I can say about that. That's it. It doesn't take away LBJ though. Yeah, let's see. Physically no, but again, give Bill Russell an opportunity to see all the grades that these guys have involved in copying and improve his code. Yeah, I agree with that, Alex. He could evolve and have evolution, but you got to think, man. I think Bill Russell, if it's a legitimate height, I would say he's anywhere from 6'9" to maybe 6'11" at the very most. And I would love to see it, but just looking at the highlights from his game and how he played, though, I think he would probably be pretty much another version of Tim Duncan. My only thing is how would he be able to deal with people in this day and age, the athletes and with the athleticism they have now? How would he be able to deal with that compared to back then? Because back then you had people out there moving as if they were cardboard boxes, man. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. I would love to see it. I would love to see it if we can pull out the hyperbolic time chamber and make some changes and a time machine and do that. Man, I would love to have some players going from different eras or bring some all time greats from then to put them in the era now and see what happens. I would love to see that. Absolutely love it. Brother Matt Chad said Bill got that's Olympic gold and the greatest win in the pro. Yeah, Matt Chad, I agree. Bill, you have to say if you're looking at the GOAT and you're basing it off of rings and achievements, Bill Russell is the absolute line for that. He's the absolute line for that. There is no beating what he accomplished. His accomplishments are absolutely absurd. I have to agree with you 1,000%. With the best teams, yeah, Jalen. With the best teams, do you got prime? Let's say prime Bulls versus prime LeBron team. I don't know which team you consider in the prime would be. Would it be the Heat? Would it be when he was with the Cavs and he had Kyrie and Kevin Love? It's kind of hit or miss. Or even now with the Lakers when they won the championship, it's again hit or miss as far as what team you can consider him to be prime for him, just because he's been on different teams or he's had a team where it's like you can consider that a very, very great team. So, yeah, actually, you know what? Let me know what you think is his greatest team then. Who's LeBron's greatest team? Would it be the year that he won the chip with the Lakers? Would it be when he was playing with, Ray Allen, Bosh, and D Wade in Miami? Or would it be when he had K Love and Kyrie over in Cleveland? Let me know what you think for that, man. I don't know who Bron's greatest team is, to be honest with you. My brother Money Brown in the building. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you stopping through, showing love, and hitting that like button for your boy. Definitely appreciate it, man. Definitely appreciate it. And Monty, as I was touching on earlier, man, I was telling folks, I said, who do you have as your GOOT? And what's the GOOT? I said, greatest of our time versus your GOAT, greatest of all time. And I explained the differences as far as being able to show respects to both and keeping it right down the middle. And then I also, again, brought in the fact of Kobe, man. We can't skip over Kobe. But for this day and age of the debate, for the topic's sake, man, people are wanting to go straight to LeBron versus MJ. And I think if you do it down the line and you do a national vote, man, across a global, if you do a global vote, I think MJ would win it, even though he's been out of the league as long as he have. Outside of the fact of his accomplishments, I think those shoes is something that keep him alive and well, man. Like who else do you or that have been releasing the exact same shoes since the '90s every single year, and people are buying them as if they won't be out next year? You don't, man. Like I don't know. I don't know what to say about that, but at the same time, it's like, do you see people going out and buying the low top LeBrons or anything like that 10 years from now if he re-releases them and things like that? From a fashion standpoint, no. Um, no, from a fashion standpoint, absolutely not. If it was a debate between who has the greatest shoes, Jordan or LeBron, it wouldn't even be close. I don't think you would be able to find one person to realistically vote that LeBron has better shoes. I think LeBron would vote that Jordan has better shoes uh, at this point. But again, that's something completely different, man. Something completely different. So brother W Right Side said another thing we have to give MJ and Kobe and Bron credit for is how they take care of their body and available in the majority of their career. Yeah, I agree. Only person that I would say that had a knock against them, man, as far as not having the same kind of longevity as a Kobe or LeBron is MJ. Just because MJ took time, he walked away, too many cigars, man, too much time, whatever he was doing, and then that time away from the game kind of hindered him a little bit from a physical standpoint. And he didn't play as long as neither one of these guys, man. I think Jordan only played. I'm going to take a guess and I'll look it up. I'll fact check it. I think he only played 13 to 14 seasons. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. See. Let's take a look. How long Jordan played in the NBA? Let's take a look and see. What we see, 15 seasons. So obviously we know that Kobe played what 19 or 20, somewhere around there. Or wait, how long did? Yeah, Kobe played 20 years, and I think Bron is on his 19th year, if I'm not mistaken. So they got him about 4 years both. You know what I mean? And again, that does have a lot to do with taking care of your body and keeping your body in the best of shapes. I think LeBron has them all beat just because he's just now starting to have these minor nagging injuries that are starting to keep him. It's making him miss more games in the latter stage of his career. So you absolutely have to give the nod to LeBron when it comes to take care of his body, man. Absolutely. Um, let's see, my brother. Let's see what else we got in here. Matt Chess and 1986 Celtics, a top all time team, my personal favorite team. I'm a homer. Hey, Matt Chad, nothing wrong with that, man. That Larry Bird led team with red man. That I can say this, that 86 team, you are absolutely spot on right. That team could compete in any era because Larry Bird was a bad man. Again, I brought this up earlier. If people don't know much about Larry the Legend, I advise you to go Google that man, look that man up, YouTube him, whatever you got to do to look at Larry and what he brought to the game. That's the easy thing I can say as well. Let's see, it looks like Alex and Matt Chad both said the Heat. Jalen said the Heat as far as LeBron's best team. Okay, can't argue that. See what else we got here. You need to trademark that ASAP. Yeah, Jalen. I might have to get on that. I might have to text my wife and tell her trademark that trademark that for me. Let's see. Excuse me, my people. Jalen, I think LBJ. Well, yeah, I think he would vote for him too. Let's see. Jordan's hands down. My brother Monty. Yeah, man. Mine was definitely. Let's see. Bird. My brother Matt Chast, I see MJ, Bird, Magic, Kobe, Curry, and LeBron all play live. MJ was built different. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I caught the tail end of MJ, Matt Chad. I caught the tail end, man. But yeah, MJ was one of the, like I say, he was one of those ones. If he had an option to either go out to dinner with you and eat your meal in front of you, or go to your house while you're eating with your family, take y'all's food and eat it in front of you. Jordan would go for option B. He would go to your house, take your family's food and eat it in front of you and make you watch him eat. That's how I looked at MJ, man. He was absolutely like that, man. Brother Edwin Castillo said, Money TV, salute, brother. Thanks for recommending A1 Who's on. Yeah, man. Appreciate you stopping through, Edwin. Absolutely appreciate you stopping through, man. And Money Brown, that's my brother right there, man. He helped me behind the scenes on a lot of things, man. I reach out to him so much. Hopefully I don't get on his nerves, but that man is definitely my brother right there. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're here checking me out and you don't know about Money Brown TV, absolutely go and subscribe to my brother Money Brown TV. Get that boxing content, one of the greatest to ever do it, man. Definitely go over there and get that work. Let's see, my brother. Let's see what else we got here. Alex says Jordan has better shoes. You can wear Jordans with the tux, and no one will say anything. Yeah, you're seeing that a lot in this newer generation. I mean, you're seeing it on live TV. You got Shaq and Kenny and them on the TNT crew. Ernie, all these guys got Shaq's or no, I'm sorry, got Jordans on with suits or some kind of dress up. And you're seeing it at weddings. You're seeing it everywhere, and people are not saying anything because it's becoming a new norm just because Jordan is a global icon that he is. And again, I think people contribute that into the GOAT debate in the situation saying Jordan is the greatest of all time because they're taking it off the court along with his merchandise into this whole debate of it. And I think they're debating the fact of greatest of all time as far as being a global star that he is. And again, if you're taking that into consideration, then it's like how can you can't really debate or argue that, you know what I mean? But LeBron is right there and saying I have the I Promise School, the I Promise Foundation, the things that he does off the court too, all the different business ventures, the power he wields in bringing light to so injustices, things of that nature, man. Like standing up and being the voice of the league and calling down and making them stand, and want change, things of that nature. Like LeBron wields his power and he wields it blatantly and confidently in front of you. At that time when Jordan was in the league, man, Jordan wasn't able to he didn't want to mess up his bottom dollar. Jordan wasn't going to speak out and wield that power like he could have. We all know, man, like Jordan at that time, man, Jordan single-handedly probably saved basketball for a period of time, man. And he could have easily spoke out and made changes and changed things big time. Absolutely. Um, let's see what else we got. What else we got in the chat here? LeBron was born a physical freak, and he has taken his body and invested it. Alex, I agree. He was born with a he was born with the perfect athletic body to have, especially when it pertained to basketball, man. And then again, dropping over $1 million annually on your body and being able to make sure you take care of it the way he does and respect your body the way he does, you can't help but salute that man for his commitment to the game and his commitment to his own body, man. Absolutely, I agree with you 1,000%. Money Brown said, when you win three straight, then leave the game and return and another three in a row out of the back. Yeah, man, you can't leave, you can't do a three-peat, leave, come back and do another three-peat, and then like I say, and then he stepped away again. You know what I mean? Like Jordan, I kid you not, man. I would have loved to have seen MJ stay, not step away from the first time and just stay. I wanted to see if he can run. If they could have ran off seven in a row or not. If they could have kept the team together, there's a lot of different things that could have came into play at that point in time. I would have been very, very, very curious to see it. See another match. I said Denny Ainge and Birdman. Yeah, yeah. Edwin said the fact that LeBron came out calling himself the GOAT automatically disqualifies him from GOAT and shoot a percentage outside of three or MJ stats above and beyond. And that's the thing, Edwin. I actually did a video yesterday. Go check it out, man, where I posted the stat line comparing boom next to next as far as who had the greater stat line, who had a better percentage, and things of that nature. I think the only thing is the 3 point now is more prominent in today's day and age versus when it was and MJ's. In MJ's time, man, he had the one game where he hit the Blazers up, I think, for 5 or 6 threes, and the crowd went crazy. Nowadays, you got Steph that'll run off 6 threes in a row in a game, and they're in the first quarter or second quarter, and they're going nuts. Or you have Klay Thompson running off 37 in a quarter, and the crowd going nuts. So it's like the game has evolved in a much, much, much more different way. And you're seeing these things again. Like I said, Jordan ran off 5 or 6 threes. You got Klay Thompson that hit what 13 or 14 threes and 15 threes in a game. And then it's like now, people are going insane about it. And everything is 3 point line, 3 point happy, man. And I think in LeBron's, in his latter stage of his career at this point, he doesn't have that same energy and burst to be able to get out there and do the things he once could, get into the line, dunking on people, and that explosiveness. He's slowing down a little bit, but he's still good enough and understanding change of pace to be able to get to where he needs to get to on the floor. Let's see. Alex said, "Yeah, Walton was hobbled, but still serviceable." Yeah, I agree. MJ had a heart of a haggler, skill or a skill. I'm sorry, I completely misread that. MJ had the heart of haggler and skill like Ali. Absolutely agree. 1,000% with you, man. Um, and absolutely strap season. I agree 1,000%. 1,000% for that. Absolutely. And Jalen said, "Yeah, his shoes are an investment. Absolutely, they are. Kobe and Shaq stay together. How many Kobe get? Mad Chad. If Kobe and Shaq would have stayed together, man, I think they could have ran off a 6 P two, at least five, at least if not five, at least six, probably seven. Because the that dynamic duo, you're getting attacked from both vocal points of any game. So you're having to deal with the fact of a two guard that can do everything. Then you have a big man that is completely dominant and unstoppable. It's like how do you deal with that? I'm sure there'd have been the defensive schemes, hack a Shack, things of that nature. But if you look at it when they did hack a Shack, it did work in the key essential moments because Shaq made his free throws when they counted. That's the crazy thing. See, Alex said when you talk about GOAT, you have to take into account transcending the sport. A lot of guys are great individual talents, but as a GOAT, you have to transcend the sport. I agree. Uh, Jordan said Republicans buy Jays too. He absolutely did. That's why I said, man, Jordan was not risking his bottom dollar. MJ never buckled under pressure. He had success against each position 1 through 5. Um, LeBron would collapse from other players' shadows. They wouldn't even touch him physically, and boom, he goes down. Oh man, Edwin, Edwin from the top rope, man, from the top rope. Oh my goodness. But hey, again, like I said, you have those people in that fandom that look at it and saying you have one player that's willing to trip his own mom to get a championship. And you have another player that is that doesn't have that same mentality. And again, that's taking it extreme. But again, Jordan was that cutthroat, man. Like Jordan, this is the difference between the two when it comes to their demeanor. Jordan wanted to steal your soul and have you in fear and never want to play basketball ever again. LeBron wants to be able to dominate you and showboat a little bit, but it doesn't excite that same fear. It doesn't excite that same I want to leave the court right now. I want nothing else to do with this man. It doesn't have that same kind of energy behind it. And I think that's the noticeable difference that people kind of get on him a lot about. Jalen said, "What did LeBron call himself the GOAT?" I missed that one. Yeah, Jalen. I think it was when he did when they came back from being three down to Golden State, and he said that he is the greatest of all time. And you can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Anybody, I believe that's when he made that statement saying that he feels like or he is the greatest of all time due to that accomplishment, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, my brother Matt Chat said Kobe may have passed MJ, been considered a more dominant duo than MJ and Pippen. I agree with you, man. Like I said, people gotta you can't sleep on the fact of what Kobe did for the game and the time that he had, man. You Kobe ran, he won three in a row with Shaq, right? Shaq left. He gets another player that is built more so dynamic for the team, but is not as dominant as Shaq. And again, this is no slight to Andrew Bynum. This is no slight to Paul Gasol. It literally is a fact of how it's a testament to Kobe in showing, okay, I want to show you that I can do it without having another top five player of all time on my team. And he did that. He ran out two of them. And if it wasn't for nagging injuries, it wasn't for situation, he probably could have ran out. I mean, again, there was a lot of things behind the scenes that happened that caused that team to kind of either break up or caused a mashup in the situation of chemistry, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, when you look at Kobe, and Kobe is Jordan 2.0. That's the easiest way to put it. Same mentality, choose the gun the same, had the ball head, wristband, knee band, everything, the walk, the shot, the jumper, the moves, the footwork, the fundamental, the mentality, everything about it was the exact same thing. And somebody put on there's a video up on YouTube right now where you literally can see identical moves between Kobe and MJ. And you can literally place you can overlap them and play it, and it's gonna be the exact same. You may see one finger out of line. Everything else gonna be the same, except Kobe had more hair because MJ's never had hair. I mean, again, no slight to MJ, but I mean, ball was his thing. Ball was his thing. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Well, W. Rice said Shaq is the most dominant big man of all time with Kobe's skills and killer instinct. They would have won. Yeah, and I have to agree with you, man. I would have loved to have seen it. That's just me being honest. I would have loved to have seen it. Absolutely would have loved to have seen it. See, brother Alvin said, "Nah, bro. Didn't you see the commercial? MJ mom had gave and get." Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. I agree with you on that. I did see that one. If LeBron said, my brother Alex said, if LeBron is such a failure, that he'd collapse to everyone and still be considered the second to MJ. I'll take that. Yeah, Alex. Like I said, man, it's a lot of people that again that would rather match LeBron up with Kobe instead of taking him straight to MJ. But I think the reason why people straight take him straight to MJ is due to the fact of the power he wields and the fact of like how he wields that power and not seeing something like him as far as being 6'9", 250 and being as nimble, explosive, and all those things that LeBron brings to the table. I think that's the different dynamic. But when you look at it, I mean, a lot of people also are going to point out MJ being 6-0 in the finals, LeBron being 4-6 in the finals, or 4-7. I can't remember. Again, I think I want to say it's 4-6. A lot of people are going to point that out and say, he went there and collapsed. But a lot of people also are not going to point out that a couple of those losses on LeBron record belongs to a team that is considered probably the greatest offensive team of all time. When you had, again, the Dynasty Warriors, when you had KD, Steph, and Clay. And we'll throw Draymond in because Draymond is a perfect fit for what that team brings to the table, man. A perfect individual thing of what they needed for the game, man. Absolutely. So you have to throw him in there. Let's see here. W. Rice said Jordan was the kid that people made run home crying, crying while he laughed. LeBron would make you cry and then walk you home apologizing. Man, the right side. That's a good point. That's a good point. Can't argue that, man. That's why I was explaining that killer mentality. Matt Chad said history will say Curry changed the game like no other basketball player in history. Yeah, Matt Chad. The reason being because he's 6'3", he's relatable, and people can view being 6'3" and being able to be dominant as to why he transcended the game as the fact that he is a fearless shooter, the greatest shooter of all time, and he shoots from everywhere. So people are able to relate. He's more relatable. Again, being 6'3", he's not physically gifted like them. So that's why people are so attached to Curry and able to kind of relate to him more. Um, Jalen said I saw the video of LBJ calling himself to go. Yeah, Jalen. Um, Jordan never did that. I think he actually said he left it up to the people and up to everyone else to debate that, but he felt that all the older players that came before him were the GOAT. That's what he said. Alex, you got too high on Kobe. Kobe would be the closest. There's no other head. Yeah. Yep, I agree. And again, appreciate definitely make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Just touching base on trying to figure out who is the GOOT, greatest of our era, or greatest of our time, versus the GOAT, greatest of all time. Definitely let me know what you think. Jay Hershon, you want to wrap it up? Dennis Radio. Okay, that's my that's my wife trolling. So yeah, no, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up and get out of here soon. Let's see. I'm still I'm way too low. Yeah. And Double Ray says Steph is different. Yeah, he is. I agree. Slick T, appreciate you coming through. Smash that like button. Appreciate you stopping through, showing some love. Some of the teams he had to look in the finals had no business being there. For which side, Slick T? You talking about LeBron or MJ for having no business being there? Let's see. Steph may go down in history as number 2. Matt Chad, I disagree with that. I don't think Steph will go down as number 2 for greatest of all time. I think for a lot of people, it may be tough to even say greatest of our time. I think a lot of people may just leave him as what he's titled as his greatest shooter of all time, just because he's had moments where he's come up small as well. But yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, Matt. Chad, a 3-point shot is the Curry generation and the Curry effect in full effect. I agree with you 1,000% with that. Let's see, Andre he as well. Yep. Oh, Iggy did win MVP, and that's the first I've ever seen somebody win MVP from just playing defense. I've never seen that before, and one of the lowest scorers on the team too. That was insane. Jalen, like, yeah, I can't. I want to upset the misses, man. Anyone who's on. So, who do you think is the GOAT? Uh, I'll answer that right before I wrap it up because I don't want the chat to light me up, man. I don't want the chat to light me up. Alex said LeBron is not finished. What else does he have to prove? Um, Alex, I think to answer that question, man, that a lot of people I think a lot of people say the only thing that LeBron has left to prove that he can be considered the greatest of all time is weathering that storm in the finals and winning a few more rings, but also showing that killer mentality because that's what the only thing people are really attacking LeBron at is him not having that killer mentality, and also not having this kind of diva-ish mentality. Not getting a call. Like now we're seeing more. So all we ever see is like looking up at the jumbotron, things like that. And it's like we want to see that, like my brother said earlier, we want to see that smack you, make you run home crying and laugh at you while you're running away, instead of that make you cry, walk you home, and apologizing to you the whole time while you're walking. You know what I mean? Like that's what people are wanting to see. And and I think also a lot of people see LeBron. LeBron absolutely gets disrespected on a regular basis. Back then, when the Jordan era, you did not see that once. And if you did see it, Jordan addressed it. And what I mean by Jordan addressed it is you either got smacked physically right then and there, or you was getting dunked on left and right, and he shut out your team, and then obviously won 6-0 in his finals appearances, things of that nature. So, as I explained earlier, like just as kind of final thoughts of it, I have to say Goot, greatest of our time, versus GOAT, greatest of all time, because LeBron brings to the table as being in the league as long as he had longevity, his vision of the game, his IQ of the game, how he tends and wants to win versus how people want him to win. He does things this way. The way he wields his power and what he brings to the game. And when you look at Jordan, you look at his dominance over the game, that competitive nature, the cutthroat mentality, the fact that I'm gonna take the big shot. If I miss it, that's on me. I'm not pointing the finger at nobody else. I'm not sending subliminals at nobody else. I'm gonna take and make it, or I'm gonna take it and miss it. I will live and die by me taking that last shot over anybody. Yeah, we know he made a few passes and kickouts, but that was long when Phil told him, you have to trust your team. You have to be able to understand you need your team to win the game. But at the same time, in a couple of those, Jordan came to him and told him, this is what they're going to do. I'm going to kick it to you. And you better make the damn shot. So it's a lot that goes with it. You know what I mean? Like I can literally break it down even more than that as far as the comparison of why people really consider Jordan a GOAT and they consider LeBron as either you can say lowercase go or 1A, 1B, whatever you want to say is I can break it down and go into that. And actually, I think I will. I think I'll take a few more minutes. I'll make it quick. My wife already sent that get your butt down here, get your butt in here and eat with the family. So I'll make it quick. Let's see here. My brother Matt Chat says Steph had a couple more chips. 3-point shots today's basketball game. I agree. W. Right side, yeah, Queen. We're about to kick him off. We appreciate y'all. Yeah, yeah, hey, absolutely, Dub Right side. Hey, absolutely, absolutely. I gotta do what I gotta do, man. Edwin said, "Hey, well, who's on here, bro? MJ should, MJ should humbleness about goat talk or MJ showed humbleness about goat talk, and guys before him, his rookie year, told him the world be yeah, absolutely." Mad chat, great so great chat. Much respect. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you stopping through 100%. Edwin said LeBron is not even in the. Whoa, Alex. Wait, Edwin said LeBron's not in the top 15 to 20. Hey, I got to hear the reason for that, man. I got to hear the reason. My brother Keon in the building. Everything boxing. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you stopping through, bro. Appreciate you stopping through. I'm gonna do a fire rundown for you, so then that way you can see where I stand with this whole situation. And for my people that's listening or future listeners, if you haven't subscribed, go to my brother Everything Boxing Keon. If you want that boxing knowledge and that realness, man, go over to subscribe to my brother Keon show at Everything Boxing, man. Keon, if you got to drop that link, bro. Let's see what else we got in the chat here real quick. Brother Alex said he's not already thinks MJ calls himself that. I'll skip over that. Jalen, but to be considered great, great doesn't mean he has to walk the same as him before MJ in there. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. Evan says, so you're saying Canelo is to go to boxing over who? Okay, what explains you putting LeBron not even in the. Oh, wow. I see Alex and Edwin Castillo got some beef going on in the chat. They got some beef going on in the chat. LeBron top 5 ever or better. So I'll say this, right? and I'll try to make this as quick as I possibly can for you. The greatest of our time is due to the fact of capturing in a moment, and when people again consider the LeBron effect, the LeBron witnesses of everything he's done, his accomplishments, the fact that this man has stayed out of trouble without a blemish on his record, out off the court. Um, again, everything he brings to the game from a between the lines perspective, the man goes out and wants to make the right basketball play on every play. And if that means he passes up a game-winning shot, if that means he passes up a shot, a good shot to get somebody a great shot, that's what he'll do. He is there for his team, um, is confident in his team, and instills that confidence. And he wants players around him that either exude confidence or the fact that he wants players around him that contribute and can mold and can help him win a title, whatever that means to get there, right? So with LeBron, again, his off the court accomplishments, the I have a wish, or I'm not I have a wish. I promise school, the I promise foundation, everything he does for his community, everything he did for the city of Cleveland, things of that nature. A lot of people contribute that into the fact of calling him what they say is greatest of all time, right? I say the greatest of our times is due to the fact that he's in an era where his dominance has been there, and he's in a time where it kind of transitioned, where it's like his impact and overall power that he wields on the league, it's not rivaled. You know what I mean? Like that when you look on the calendar and just say, for example, if you're buying a ticket to go see a basketball game, right? If it's any one player that you want to see that comes into the game outside of Steph Curry at this point, because we are in that 3 point heavy era. But before that, it was I want to see LeBron play, and it sold out everywhere he went. Everywhere, if you look back on any team he's ever been on, when the point of when he became almost the face of the league, it's sold out in every single game, everywhere he's went, no matter what team he's played against, because people want to see LeBron play. They want to see that fast break, same kind of cocker to the side dunk or reverse, whatever the case, kind of dunk. They want to see what this man's going to do in the game, right? So that's what you get when you have LeBron. Again, the shots, the passes, the blocks, chase down blocks became a staple of his game, and people loved him for it. They couldn't wait to see it. They wanted to see what he did. All right. So we touched on everything that involves why people consider LeBron as the GOAT. Now, the thing that the reason I say greatest of our time compared to greatest of all time, Jordan can be considered the greatest of all times is due to the fact that his mentality, what he brought to the game, the fact that his game can translate and play in any and every error without question of him having to adapt to that error. His dominance on both sides of the ball, and the fact that the man's IQ and his fundamental sounds, and the fact that also his free throw shooting. Another knock on LeBron, and again I hate to say, is the fact that he. I'm not going to go as far as Skip Bayless and call him the best worst late game free throw shooter, or he's the best worst late free throw game shooter. I'm not going to call him that. I just wish that the man was an 80% free throw shooter. That's just my personal opinion. But when it comes to Jordan, he was so dedicated to the craft of basketball, and during his time in his reign as being, when he had the 2 3 peats, is that the man was out there shooting free throws with his eyes closed, is due to the fact of how much preparation he's put into the game. People consider Jordan a GOAT more so because of, and I'll do it really basic, mentality. They'll use the 6-0 in the finals. I don't use that just because 6-0, 6-0. You got 6 championships. That's how I look at it. Jordan, his mystique and his aura about him is why people consider him the greatest. And like I explained earlier, when you look at the Jordan brand and you look at his shoes, there's not going to be another athlete that's going to be able to catch up to Jordan when it comes to shoe sales and shoe resales ever. Um, Kobe, I think, may be trending there just with the type of Kobe's he has now. People are absolutely wearing those as fashion or rocking those in all the games now, and they're trending as one of the highest sneaker sales for sure. I'll give you that. But when it comes to Jordan and his mystique and air, when Jordan walks in the room, it's a whole different vibe. Again, you look at All Star Weekend, LeBron's in Cleveland. When Jordan walked in, what do you see? You see people, all eyes on Jordan. He saw Magic Johnson giggling like a little high school girl. And then you look at um, the fact that the global icon this man still is, and he's still referred as the GOAT. And he's been out of basketball for how long? You got people that have never seen Jordan play a single game, but they can tell you a story about what they've been passed down a story about Jordan from a different relative or whomever. That's what makes him the greatest of all time because it's there is no end in sight of where when you bring up the GOAT conversation, Jordan is not going to be considered number one. He's not. There. It can be 20 years from now, and you're still going to have people saying Jordan. Why? Because it's going to be people that range as far as from my age. It's going to be passing on stories or showing. As long as YouTube or as long as old highlight reels are around, there's going to be Jordan highlights that you're going to see. They're going to say, "God, that guy was he went after people and like he was cutthroat and he played in the air. He's getting knocked down." And then they're going to see LeBron highlights, or you're going to see the chase downs, you're going to see the dunks, things like that. But then you're going to see and hear a lot of people complaining about the fact that he's always divish and whining and little GM and thing, whatever they want to say, all that stuff, right? That's not relevant to being between the lines. But the thing is, with Jordan, his mystique is gonna be for all time. The same way how people my age, and I'm an '80s baby. People look at Dr. J. I still know about Dr. J. You know what I mean? And still look at the mystique of Dr. J as well. But Jordan came along at the perfect time, captured the attention of people, capitalized over it, invested in it, and now has a Jordan brand in the shoe that the man literally, I kid you not, has just been reselling the same shoes since the 90s, and people are still buying them as if they're not going to come out in a year or two. That's not the same case for LeBron shoes. That's not the same case for LeBron. When you look at LeBron shoes, people like it's not gonna be that same mystique as Jordan. So with you give Jordan a nod for if you take collectiveness and overall mystique and everything that goes with it, I go with Jordan being the greatest of all time. And then you have to go with LeBron being the greatest of our era. But again, that's still an argument too, is that because Kobe is in that era with LeBron. So I may have to do a different show on that and get some intake and some feels on that and see how people feel about that. But I'll give my last remarks here, see who else we have in the chat. Yeah, I got lost in that chat, man. I got lost in there. Let's see. LeBron isn't top five GOAT. Wait, my brother said W right side said LeBron isn't top five GOAT talk. I have a question. Your basketball knowledge. They're right. They still picking on my man. They still picking on him. Let's see. Jalen said Jordan doesn't come out often. Yeah, Jalen, he doesn't. That's what makes his mystique high, man. He does not come out. He stays and he comes out, and people are just they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. Let's see. Matt Chad said Kobe number two shoe. Yeah, from a basketball and even for a fashion standpoint, man, you got people rocking Kobe's. I have a few pair myself. I have the Black History Month edition Kobe's, and I have it's like a fuchsia color. I can't remember the name of those, but I have two pair of Kobe's myself. I had some Kobe's in the past. Obviously before he had passed. Otherwise, I would have absolutely kept them, but I had given away to other people less fortunate that needed some shoes. So I just gave mine away to them. Your brother Edwin said MJ, Magic, Hakeem, Kobe, Russell, Chamberlain, Curry, Bird. Take him out of the top. Oh man, Edwin. I'm gonna let you fight that battle in the chat, man. I'm not gonna say too much about that. My brother John Page in the building. LeBron to go, huh? Yeah, I just gave a whole rundown on that. John Page on brother Batman in the building. I gave a whole rundown on it, man. Like why I was just saying that people gonna say, Goot versus the GOAT, greatest of our time versus greatest of all time. I gotta get that trademark, or yeah, trademark, man. I hope my wife is still, if she's still in the chat. I need you to help me trademark that. Um, Brother Edwin said, let's see here. I understand. I didn't think you would get emotional. Oh man, hey, Edwin, you got to be careful, man. You start talking about Canelo. I think what I got. It looks like I got 11 people viewing right now. You talk about Canelo, man. That number is going to skyrocket to over 1,000. I'm going to have people bashing me, and I haven't said one word about Canelo. Like I told everybody when somebody did ask me about it one time, I told them I'm a fan of what that man does inside the ring. No matter what you say, he's active and he's good and he's fighting. That's the only thing you can ask. Everybody else is doing a lot of talking and not enough walking. And then in Canelo's case, he's staying active and staying busy and giving us fights. It may not be fights people want to see, but he's giving fights that you can see. So that's the one thing I can say there. Um, see, Slick T in the building. See what's Slick T saying? LeBron is a close. LeBron is a close to like I want you said earlier. 1A Jordan and 1A LeBron. Yeah, Slick T. It's almost personal preference, man. What do you consider the greatest of all time? That's the thing. Like 1A 1B, it's all opinionated. It's all opinionated. It's not that you can really fact check it because if you're basing off rings, Bill Russell's a GOAT. If you're not basing it off rings, then you have an argument of what do you consider the GOAT? What makes who the GOAT kind of thing, you know what I mean? Um, let's see here. Let's see. Jalen, you don't know how to respond to Edwin. Yeah, Jalen. I'm leaving. I'm leaving that alone. I know how to respond, but I am leaving that alone. Let's see. I can still the only emotion I'm feeling is laughter because you're funny, but not someone to have a real discussion with. All right, but he's no LeBron. Ain't who's on. It's all fun and games, brother. I enjoy the stream. Keep it up. Exactly. Got Go Canelo. Hey, Edwin. Yeah, no, it's all fun, man. I enjoy trying to read through all the messages and definitely interact. I'm just appreciative my wife has let me go for this long because I know it's time to eat with the fam. We got our got our 11 month old about to be 12 months old in a week. So he's down there probably throwing some food around, making a mess as usual. So go down there and eat with the fam. So no, I appreciate let's see, my brother John Page, LeBron did it over on every level and didn't need college. Uh John, my only rebuttal to LeBron did it on every level and didn't need college is there's Kobe didn't go to college either. He went straight into the league and earned his bones out there making mistakes, man. LeBron was NBA ready just due to the fact of being able to have those conversations with the Kobe's and other players before him that hopped into the league early and having that mentorship because he was such a star in high school that he had players that were NBA players that were already either Hall of Famers or even champions reaching out, providing that advice and that mentorship on how to approach the game and how to go about the game. So that's my rebuttal to that part. You know what I mean? W. Rice said, "Man said MJ is Canelo and LeBron is Ryan Garcia. What's your thoughts?" Whew. um, man, Doug Right side for that statement, bro. I had to say that's disrespectful, man. That's disrespectful. I would have to say if you would have to bring MJ comparing to a boxer as a king of adjustments, cleanest, if he could translate to any kind of height and weight, I would have to go with comparing MJ to Floyd. If you were comparing to a boxer, and then for LeBron, man, I would have to say, man, LeBron, man, that's tough for a boxer because LeBron is a tactician, man. And I don't want. I'm not going to compare him to EJ because EJ is one of my favorite fighters, man. Because LeBron will give you everything, and then has a high IQ to go with it. You know what I mean? Actually, I'll do this. MJ is more comparable to Pretty Boy Floyd, and you can say LeBron is Money May. Money May was more focused on doing it here smarter. Pretty Boy was I'm gonna get you out of here. That's my whole mission is to get you out of this ring. Face down or butt up, don't matter. That was his take. That was his take. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. I'm gonna get ready to close this out. John Page. John Page, you got Kobe. Kobe at number two. Kobe had an NBA father. Yeah, like I said, John Page, Kobe had he was playing against adults though in Italy when he was a young teenager. When he was a young teenager, he was playing against adults as a young teenager. So that's the definitely a de facto he had on his side outside, his father being and playing in the NBA as well though. Evan Castillo said LeBron isn't Ryan, but man, did Alex blow a few? Yeah, yeah, Edwin, that was funny, man. That was funny. That had me laughing. I'm gonna have to go laugh at that when I hop off. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, y'all. Get down there and eat with the family. Hopefully they're still eating, or I know they're not waiting because my son, man, he's not having it. 11 months old. It's my food and I want it now, kind of thing. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all stopping through, showing some love and hanging out with me, man, and talking this basketball talk with me between the greatest of our time versus the greatest of all time. Again, that's it's subject to your opinion. So definitely, if you're watching this afterwards, feel free to comment on it, but definitely make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Definitely going to be dropping more content, and I'll be seeing each and every one of y'all later. Again, I appreciate you stopping through and showing your boy some love. A1 Hoop Zone. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you all think, and I'll see you guys later. Appreciate y'all. My brother John Payne said, "Yeah, Kobe won early and showed he ain't." He ain't need All right, let me wrench up a few of my peoples in here real quick. Make sure have them on here for sure, man. Make sure you have it on here. Wrench up my brother Edwin real quick. Wrench up my brother John Page real quick. Slick T for sure. Wrench up my brother too. All right, my people. Well, I'll catch y'all later, man. Again, I appreciate y'all coming through, showing some love. I'm gonna go eat, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. And y'all stay safe out there, and keep your family safe as well. Appreciate it.